Hello everyone, my name is Oluwole Godwin. Welcome back to Emoji Economics. What shall we talk about today? We shall be talking about the savings function. In the last class, we talked about the consumption function, which showed the relationship between consumption and the factors that are responsible for consumption. Today, so what is the savings function? The savings function, which is denoted as SF, shows the relationship between savings and the factors influencing it. So the savings function shows the relationship between savings and the factors influencing it. However, the savings function has been reduced to being to one variable influencing it, which is the disposable income, or otherwise they just call it income for the sake of simplicity. Now, so how do we obtain the savings function? First, we should understand, or we should recall, that the income of a consumer can be spent on two things. It could be spent on the present consumption, which is known as the C, or the future could be saved for the future consumption, which is known as the S. Whatever is meant for future consumption is, in other words, saved. Okay, so from here, y equals c plus s. So we just make s the subject of the equation. So s becomes income minus consumption. We've not introduced taxes, we've not introduced any complexities to what we are talking about. But recall from the previous class that consumption, C, is equal to A plus BY, where A is the autonomous consumption, B is the marginal propensity to consume, Y is income, and C is consumption itself. So what does have to do is to substitute equation 3 in equation 2. So we then have S equals Y minus the whole of C, which is what we have here. Now, by the time we continue from there, we have S equals Y minus A minus multiplies BY, so we have minus BY. Okay, so we could leave it that way, or we could still take it forward to make it simpler. So S then equals minus A, so it's more or less rearranging what we have here, just collecting like terms to make sure that everything that has Y is on one side. Minus A, then this is a plus Y minus BY. So S equals minus A plus, so 1 minus B plus the bracket Y. To get this, y times 1 will give us y, then y times minus b give us minus by. So it's just a form of making the whole thing easy to understand. Now, this is what the savings function then becomes. So the savings function is equal to minus a plus open bracket 1 minus b plus bracket y, and that's all. Where s is equal to savings, a itself, a is this a here, is autonomous consumption. Then what is minus a? What is minus a? So minus a is equal to dissaving, because this is s equals minus a, not just a. Dissaving to finance the autonomous consumption. When we're discussing the consumption function in the previous video, I was saying that a is autonomous consumption, which is the consumption that occurs when no income has been earned. Okay, in order to finance this consumption, individuals end up borrowing, obtaining loans, and so on and so forth. So now what they do is what we call dissaving. Okay, so you borrow from other people, you obtain loans and so on in order to finance that autonomous consumption. So that is what is now being represented as the minus A. So minus A is dissaving to finance A. Okay, recall that B is equal to the marginal propensity to consume, which is the change in consumption that results from a change in income. So if B is equal to MPC, then what is the entirety of 1 minus B? Okay, since we already agree, or since we already mentioned that Y is equal to C plus S, income equals consumption plus savings, that means whatever part, okay, of the income that is not spent on consumption is definitely saved. So if B is equal to marginal propensity to consume, then 1 minus B will then be equal to the marginal propensity to save. Now let's assume that B was 0.4. So that means for every 40%, for every 100% change in income, 40% will be spent on consumption. Okay, so if B equals 0.4, then how then do we get the amount that is being saved? So it's more or less 100. It's more or less 1 minus 0.4. That is 100% minus 40%, which means 60% of every additional income is saved. So that's how we obtain 1 minus B, meaning MPS. Okay, so it's more or less income. When there's an increase in income, that increase is represented as being 100%. So if 40% of it is spent on consumption, definitely 100% minus 40% of it is spent on savings. Okay, so that's why if B is 0.4, then whatever is spent on savings has to be 1 minus B. So that's why we have 1 minus B equals the marginal propensity to save. So Y is equal to disposable income in brackets. Okay, because I've not really expanded it to include the tax element. All right. So everything like that is just done to make the whole thing simple. So we have the graph over here. So we have disposable income, current disposable income on the horizontal axis, and then we have the savings on the vertical axis. So we have this upward sloping line, which simply means as income rises, that there's going to be an increase in savings. But remember from the psychological law that the increase in savings is going to be less proportionate than the increase in the income itself. So from there, what about the vertical intercepts? So the vertical intercepts represent the dissaving. Okay, look at it. When income was 0, because this point represents 0. When income was 0, savings was negative, which is what we call dissaving. That is, it's a negative saving. You don't have money. You're actually taking from what you don't have yet. Now, okay, then as income, so as income begins to grow, then the line begins to slope upwards until we get to this point. This point is called the break-even point, where the income is just where we begin to have a positive saving. Okay, we begin to have a positive saving here when this individual has started to earn this particular amount of income. So there is an equilibrium over there. Okay, so the income gets to a certain level where this consumer begins to have a non-zero or a positive saving, and that point is also known as the break-even point. So whatever y we have here is equal to the saving. Whatever y we have there is equal to. So whatever y we have there is just equal to the saving, and that point is also known as the break-even point. Remember that the break-even point also occurs when we're talking about the APC. Okay, when C over Y is equal to 1, we say that that's break-even point. So the other way around is to also state that at this particular point, there is also a break-even point. So it's the same thing that we are just stating in different ways. So from there, we then have this function s equals minus 60 plus 1 minus 0.6y. So it's just more or less what we have here. Okay, so what does this actually mean? So this means that there is a dissaving of minus 60. Okay, that's 60. Let's assume that we are talking about naira, or naira. So 60 naira is used to finance the autonomous consumption that is occurring here. Then we have 0.6 is going to be the MPC. So 1 minus 0.6, which is going to give us 0.4, is the marginal propensity to save. So that's just telling us that for every increment in y, 0.4 of it will be saved. Like for every 100% change in y, 40% of it will be saved, and 0.6% or 60% of it will be consumed. Now, what is the slope of the savings function? The slope of the savings function, will just do the differentiation. We differentiate s with respect to y. So the s, the y, all of this becomes 0. So y disappears and we're left with 1 minus b from the basic knowledge of calculus. So that's just what we have, 1 minus, which is the NPS, that is the slope of the savings function, is the marginal propensity to save. Now from there, let's move into something a little bit interesting. APC plus APS is equal to 1, that is the average propensity to consume, and the average propensity to save is equal to 1. So why is that the case? So there's a proving here. Recall that APC is equal to C over Y, okay, which is the part of income that is expended on consumption, and the APS is equal to S over Y. So APC plus APS now is equal to this C over Y plus this S over Y. Alright, then recall that C is equal to what? A plus BY. Okay, in the very simple form. So A plus BY, since we have divided by Y here, so we have divided by Y. So we divide the whole numerator by Y. Then plus, what is the savings function? The savings function is minus A plus open bracket 1 minus B, close the bracket, then Y. So we put all of that in brackets, we divide this by Y. Okay, so separating all of this, we have this could be rewritten as A over Y plus BY over Y. Alright, plus times minus is minus. Okay, so then we have A over Y, then plus times plus is plus. Okay, 1 minus B into bracket Y, then everything divided by Y. From there, A over Y cancels this. This is more or less A over Y minus A over Y, so that cancels that. So y cancels y, so we are left with b. Then y cancels y here. So we are left with 1 minus b. So we are left with b plus 1 minus b plus 1 minus b. So b plus 1 minus b is equal to what? So we have b plus, so b minus b is 0. So we are left with 1. B plus 1 minus b equals to 1. So that is why we say that the average propensity to consume and the average propensity to save is equal to 1. The same thing goes for the marginal propensity to consume and the marginal propensity to save. So MPC plus MPS is also equal to 1. So that's that about that. If you have any question, if you have any suggestion of any video you want to see that is not yet on the channel, leave them in the comment section. Share this video with your friends, subscribe, click the like button, and turn on notifications for updates on every new video. Thank you so much. See you next time.